So it's the second week in April, and this is what I have from the hotbed. And I don't think I would have had as good a result if I had done it just in the greenhouse and not in the hotbed. And I have done this before in a cold frame and had results this early. So if you don't have a greenhouse, use a cold frame, use a hotbed, use a cold frame on a hotbed, that kind of thing. It's all possible even in the zone 4 where we still have nights that are down in the 20s. They need bottom heat and just protection. Hi, honey. And so this is my third picking just from that small bed, and we have a lot more in there. So pretty exciting. This one was not charged. I have not been watering it with rabbit manure tea at all. I wanted to see what would happen if I put seeds in a cold bed. So there's my seedlings. We'll see how they do. And this one is the hotbed. This is the one that I have been charging with rabbit manure tea, and it has a lot of steam coming. Can you see the steam? I'm going to be so sad if you can't see the steam. Can you see it? So hotbed, cold bed. I'm going to see if I can catch it this morning so you can see. When I move the tray, see this bed is very warm right above. So I'm going to move the tray, watch for the steam. Can you see it? There, I think I caught it that time. So, you can see that the basil is not terribly happy about what happened to it last night. You can see some brown edges there. See the brown edges? So it did get a little bit of frost. Remember, it's still February. So this is a trial garden again. I'm doing this to find out what works. The Swiss chard has not been at all damaged. The sorrel, it was a little dry when I transplanted it. The borage is fine. The burdock is fine. The onions are fine. And this bale is warm to the touch. When I came out here this morning, it was 60 degrees. It's been in the 20s at night, so it's quite below freezing. And my peas have started to sprout. See that? So, remember, this is my cold bed side. Warm bed, because I charged it with the rabbit manure tea. So this is my warm bed. This is my cold bed. I don't want to water this side too much because if I start to water it, it'll start to heat up. If I add just a little bit of water to it, it'll heat up just a teeny bit, but I don't want the roots of these plants damaged because all of them are cold-loving plants. Peas, Swiss chard, cabbage, bok choy, all that kind of good stuff. Radishes in some spots. So, remember, I'm telling you, I did not harden these off at all. I just brought them out, plunked them down, and put a cloth over them at night. Now, if this greenhouse didn't have that opaque layer on the outside, I don't think I could have done that, but it acts as a shade cloth. I got it because I thought it would be important not to have too bright a light out here. I'm finding that that is not the case. It would be better if I had more bright light. For things like chard and spinach and stuff like that, it might be a good thing, but it's not good for tomatoes or anything else. Anything that has a fruit on it needs a much brighter light than what I get in here. So here pretty quick I need to go out and cut that layer off, and I'll just have to have a 1-layer greenhouse. And then, you know, in a few years, once this translucent layer wears off and gets old and needs to be replaced, then I would put on 2 layers of translucent rather than 1 layer of opaque and 1 layer of translucent. So last night I didn't have any cover on anything. Okay, and it was down in the 20s. It was very cold, and you can see Everything is happy and warm. Now, I have noticed that those plants that I planted in dirt, in soil right on top of the bales, have done better with less shock than the ones I planted in my windows. And that's just transplant shock. So this is what happened last time too. Mushrooms. Except last time it smelled like dog poop, and we didn't have dog poop in this. We didn't have a dog at the time. And this time it doesn't smell like dog poop. But we also don't have chicken manure or goat manure in here. It's all just strictly rabbit manure, cardboard, straw, that kind of thing. So now everything would be taking off a lot faster if I were to take off that outside plastic layer. But I just haven't had the guts to do it yet. Everything else looks good. I know I have a critter in here somewhere because of that. See that? And we have caught about 12 of them in that trap, but I now need to move it over to the side over here by this straw bale so that as it comes in and out, I can trap it. As I continue to charge this, I will always use rabbit manure tea. It just, even though I have the manure here on top that kind of filters down a little bit, it does need to have the actual fertilized water going into it in order to keep things warming up. You can see how much mold we've got coming in here. Can you see that? How good things are getting started? Fungus and mold and things are just breaking down really good over here. And on this side, there's none of that. Nothing's breaking down. There's no warmth. It's not warm to the touch. Over here, it's warm to the touch. It's starting to break down and turn into soil. The problem here is that this side is going to start sinking before that side does. So we might get a little bit unbalanced eventually. I'm super, super happy that we don't have clouds of ammonia in here. I don't like it when there's the clouds of ammonia. It hurts the plants and it hurts the animals that are in here at the same time. So I'm pretty stinking excited about that. Again, here are the peas coming up. It's still February. It is February. I covered up some of the others. When I came through here and watered, it washed some of the soil off the peas. And so I put some more soil down. So that's why you're not seeing as many as you would have if I hadn't covered them back up a little bit. See these? It was an accident. So, and then through here we have cabbages and bok choy and Swiss chard. I do want to come out here and put some kohlrabi, etc. And the problem is I want things to stay a little bit warmer in here. And so I do want to leave this space open to keep charging things for a bit. Just for a bit. Just till it warms up just a little bit more. Because this is a borage. They're frost sensitive. And then this one is elecampane, more sorrel, and that over there is gobu burdock, and then onion. So these guys aren't totally frost sensitive, or yeah, they're not totally frost insensitive. Not as sensitive as say a basil would be, but I'm super, can you tell in my voice how excited I am about this? So once I have these beds full, and it's later in the year, and I have them really well started and they're staying warm, then I'm going to come over here and start charging this one. But for now, I'm just going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit because I want it to be my backup heater for the greenhouse. And if I start it up right now, it can't be a backup heater. It will be a heater at the same time, and then I won't have more space to bring another one in. Hey guys, I don't know if you can see me. This is the way that I package my seeds. Carrots, turnips. If they remind me of each other for some reason, I put them all in their own little kit. And then inside the kit there's smaller containers. So today what I'm planting is carrots, and then I'm going to plant the German giant radishes from Michigan Gardener. I've been really happy with them. The others that I have are from Seed Savers, Territorial Gardens, and who else have I purchased from? A little bit from Jung Seeds. There's, you can get in really big bulk packages. I'm going to go ahead and get these planted. I'm going to just kind of broadcast seed these guys. Everything else I planted in rows, so these ones I'm going to broadcast. I have a mouse that keeps pushing things out there in the middle. He's stinking persistent. He doesn't seem to be eating anything. Like, he isn't bothering the plants, but he keeps digging the soil up in that one corner. It's driving me crazy. So I think I'm probably going to go get a hose and just stick it down there and see if I can flush him out. Now, last time I did a hotbed, my radishes were not happy. They came up and instantly died. It was just too warm for them. They didn't like it. I think that's what's going to happen again, but we'll try. I was really surprised last year at how well my carrots did in the greenhouse. I really think that they needed more sunlight, but for what sunlight they had, I got some pretty good sized carrots off of them. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit more peat moss over the top of them because they seem to do better if I just sprinkle a little bit of something on them rather than packing them in. I'm also going to put some fertilizer in, some long-lasting dissolving fertilizer. I am using rabbit manure tea, but I don't really know how strong it is because the manure itself is a little bit older. So I'm just going to hedge my bets a little bit by putting on some of this fertilizer. What I was doing was coming out and where I have spaces and holes, I just came in and re-sowed those. So some of them could have just been slow germination, but I had mice in here and there's a good likelihood that a lot of them just got eaten. So I came in and put more tatsoi, Swiss chard, and what else did I put in here? And then peas in this space. And then over here, I think I'm going to put onions in here, but I need a little bit more planting medium because this is mostly rabbit manure. And so in here you can see I've got all sorts of fun things coming up. I heavily seeded this just with broadcast seeding. I don't like it as well because it's harder to water without disturbing roots, but they seem to be just fine. I don't like to do this when the bed is real hot, when there's a lot of steam coming up, because then you'll actually cook your plants on the inside. So if I have a really hot bed, I don't put this on. There's no point. The hotbed's hot. It'll keep things from freezing. But once the hotbed cools down a little bit, this works well at night. It costs about $2 to get a full sheet set at our local thrift store. It was in the 20s last night, and it's in the 20s most nights. And everybody is doing okay, but I think that the temperature fluctuation between being about 100 degrees during the day in here and then just below freezing at night is a little hard on them. So we're going to come in and set up some of these. These are just, I think they were 10 or 15 gauge wire. We bought it in a roll and I just cut it to length. And I use these to hold plastic and frost cloth off the vegetables. I use these outside as well. Now, that cold is not killing these plants. These plants are still alive. It's just stressing them. you come in the morning and they're half frozen, and that's not conducive to good growth. Just go get a king size flat sheet instead. Unhappy quail, I think I stepped on her. Okay, so that's what it would look like. Again, it's better with one big piece because then you don't have these round corners. Because with one big piece it drapes in a long piece and you don't end up with these sagging bits in between. The sagging bits are going to touch the plants and then it can bend the plants in and they won't grow as well. And you can see I have the other hotbed all built up and ready to go. I have a lot of wood in there, so we're trying wood chips, hugelkultur, and rabbit manure. I don't know how that's going to go. You can see that the frost on this side is starting to melt. The frost on this side is still quite solid. So you guys already know that we like to give them pumpkins, and these babies are about 2 days old now. So I'm going to go in and just make sure we don't have any dead ones. And it's warm enough this morning that I'm not going to be distressing them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I believe that's what she had last time too. Although I think last time she had 7 actually. But I don't feel any dead babies in there. I don't know, did you get to see any of them? And again, I did wait this morning until it was quite a bit warmer. I did not do it in the early morning when we were still below freezing. It's probably above 30 now.